Brothers and sisters in the Dharma, may you all be well, happy, and peaceful. We are going to have a presentation titled Pointers to Wisdom. Now, this presentation with the discussion of important Dharma teachings can be very useful to enable us to live more happily and peacefully in our lives. Now, the texts are in English and Chinese. The Chinese is inserted through the Google Translate, so it might not be 100% accurate, but it can give a fair idea for those who do not follow the presentation in English and not so familiar with the text in English. Now, you will find that there are important Dharma teachings or messages or advice which are very beneficial to one and all, young and old. Now, as usual, we will have the PowerPoint for the discussion. But before that, let me check the setup to ensure that everything is okay. All right, it is okay. Now let us launch the PowerPoint. That is the cover slide. You see pointers to wisdom. Now we know in Buddhism, and in fact in all religious traditions, wisdom is a very important spiritual quality to cultivate. Once we have wisdom, then we begin to see things clearly, and there will be a rising peace and joy and happiness in your mind because you understand the way things really are. Now, pointers will be like signposts. So there is a selection of important life lessons or Dharma teachings and bits of advice in this presentation. So now let us go on to slide number 2. It pertains to this very important teaching which is found in all religions, and that is forgiveness. Now, you know, there is a proverb that says, to err is human, to forgive divine. So, forgiveness is a divine quality. Now, if we are able to forgive ourselves for the mistakes and the errors that we make, and also forgive others who might have hurt us in their words or in their actions, then we should forgive them. Then you will feel more peaceful and joyful. It will be terrible to have grudges in your mind and heart, and you will not be peaceful. And these grudges, ill will or anger or even hatred, you can carry with you on and on, even into future lives. So, to forgive is a very important spiritual practice. Now, we can reflect in this way, just as we have hurt other people through our speech and actions because of carelessness, heedlessness, and mindlessness. So likewise, also there are times where other people also may say things which hurt you or have done you certain wrongs. So then you begin to reflect and forgive that person. And I can tell you, there is a very good feeling of peace and joy once you let go of those negative states like anger, ill will, and hatred. So this is this important point about forgiveness. Right. Now let us go on, since you are going to have many slides, so we have to move a bit faster. So now let's go on to the slide number 3. Human life is unique and precious. Live a righteous and worthy life. Now, in the Dharma teachings, it stated that to be born a human being is a very, very rare occasion. In the Buddhist cosmology, you have 5 or certain versions of the teachings talk about 6 realms of existence: hell realm, hungry ghost realm, animal realm, human realm, and the realm of the gods or the devas. And then some would say there's one more called Azura, which is the demons, right? The demons. And it's very fortunate to be born a human being. Being a human is very unique. We have that ability in our mind to think, to reason, and also to be able to do things which can benefit other people and also benefit ourselves. And likewise also, we can do terrible things that hurt ourselves and other people. So it is very unique and a very, very precious thing. All humans, of course, all value, all living things actually value their lives, you see, right? So as a human being, it is very, very important that we live a life that is worthy, so that when we transit from this world, we will be peaceful and happy. That we have done what should be done, we have done right things, meritorious actions, and have avoided actions of speech or body that can hurt other people. So, you have to be mindful, or we have to be mindful that we will lead our life in a moral way, follow good ethics and good morality, practice righteousness. And in the case of Buddhism, for morality, as lay people, you have to observe, we have to observe the 5 precepts of not killing, not stealing, no sexual misconduct, no gossip, and no drinking or taking of intoxicants and drugs. So you see that if we are able to lead a moral life, then our minds will be peaceful. We won't be disturbed in our conscience. You can sleep soundly. So you find people who commit moral wrongs. It's a matter of time, right? That they will suffer, not only in this life, but in lives to come. So this is a very important pointer for wisdom to arise. Wisdom cannot arise if there is no virtue or morality, because the mind cannot be clear and peaceful. So how can you reflect and see things as they truly are? You might be having a guilty conscience. So the person that does immoral things cannot have insights into the true nature of things, and wisdom is missing. In fact, because it's a vicious cycle in the sense that no wisdom, so the person commits unwholesome things. And because he has immoral actions and so on, then, the wisdom cannot arise. So he goes round and round like that. So you have to break out of that cycle. So this is the second important signpost to wisdom, that is virtue. Now let us go on to the next one. It says, time heals almost everything. Give time. Now, of course, it's a fact of life that in life, there will be dukkha. Dukkha is usually translated as suffering. Nobody is free from dukkha. The enlightened ones, of course, they do not have dukkha anymore in the minds, but they still have the bodily suffering and pain. But then the fantastic thing is the minds do not have any more suffering. But anyway, for us, worldlings, we will encounter suffering, pain, grief, sorrow, one time or other. The most recent event is the terrible tragedy of the landslide, killing more than 20 people who were camping in the Batang Kali area there. It's terrible, right? So the grief and the pain is tremendous. But whatever it is, these are facts of life that we have to cope. And one thing is this, that nothing will remain the same. Everything will come to pass, right? All the things that you experience, your mental states, right? So time is a healer. So we need to be patient, to endure, and to embrace the things that come more peacefully. Of course, it's easier said than done. But then what choice do we have? When dukkha befalls us, you cannot just take a pill and then no more dukkha, no more suffering in the mind, isn't it? You cannot take the medicine just as you take medicine to cure your sicknesses. But the greatest medicine to help you to heal in your mind is the Dharma. When we understand the Dharma, you can say that the Dharma is the true nature of things, right? The way things really are. When you understand and realize the Dharma, then you see that you can cope so much better with the happenings that you come across. So, but we have to bear in mind this point, or we need to bear in mind this point that nothing is permanent. Everything will go by, right? So time is a good healer, but I would say if you have Dharma, then you find that the time can be even shortened a lot. Very fast you can recover from the state of unhappiness or suffering, right? So this is a very good piece of wise advice that we can follow. Now let us go on to slide number 5. Right? Don't compare your life to others. You have no idea what their journey is all about. Now there's a very important Dharma teaching about comparing and measuring. When we compare with others in a negative way, actually, right, then you find jealousy can arise, dissatisfaction can arise because you want to be better. You want to be like them. And you have mental states of envy and jealousy. And sometimes you think, why is it that the other people are more lucky? I am in a terrible situation, in dire straits. But actually, you do not know what their mental states are, what their life journey is all about. You don't know. Do you know what goes on in the mind of that person? Can he sleep well and peacefully? You look on the surface. He has so many cars, so many houses, and then he seems to enjoy life very much. But that is just on the surface. On the surface. Just as you hear about famous pop stars or actors and actresses leading a so-called very luxurious life, and you will say very enjoyable life, and then you have also so many cases of suicide. So you don't know what their mental states are. So what you should do is to take care of your own mind, develop the mind, and if you think of some great people and you can get inspiration from them by reading about their lives, then that is okay. But in most cases, you have that thinking, which falls on this principle, the grass is greener on the other side. They are so lucky. Why am I like that? Why am I so unlucky? So this weakens the mind, and the mind is not peaceful. So don't compare, don't measure. Just do your best. Develop the mind. If you are able to learn Dharma, then you can develop the mind very, very well, you see. That's why nobody really, knows what is going on in the mind of the other person, except perhaps that person. But that person sometimes also is blur, is ignorant. He doesn't look into the mind carefully, right? Sometimes on the surface, you can't tell. I think it was in Shakespeare, in Macbeth, there's this very famous quotation that goes something like this. There's no art to find the mind's construction in the face. That person may look so innocent, so gentle and kind, but yet crooked plans are happening in the mind. In the case that you find you have characters like Lady Macbeth, Chuchok, the husband, right? To murder the King Duncan. Anyway, I'm not telling you the story of Macbeth. You can read about it. So don't compare your life to others. You can get inspiration from famous, great people who do a lot of good. That is okay. But in most cases, people like to compare. Oh, my neighbors, have got a new car or a new fridge and so on. Then you don't feel, nice and peaceful, right? You don't feel happy for them. You feel jealous of them. In fact, that is common. So this is a very important thing to practice, a piece of wise teaching. Now let us go on to number 6 now. Slide number 6. You don't have to win every argument. Agree to disagreements. Now you find a lot of people, because of the ego element, must win in the arguments. They don't feel happy or peaceful if they lose to other people. They lose in the arguments. In fact, they don't like people who say things which contradict them or that go against their views and opinions. They must reflect on what the French philosophers said. I think it was Voltaire that said, even though I disagree with you, I will fight to the very last for your right to say it. Wow, fantastic, isn't it? So he's able to even consider the other people's views, even the views contradict his. So he wants to listen. And that is how growth of the mind takes place, where you listen to other people's views and opinions, their reasoning. So if they do not agree with yours, it's perfectly fine. You can consider, reflect, and see maybe you have made a mistake. Or if you feel that your arguments are better, but he is different, let it be, you see, right? Don't be like the boss who conducts a meeting and tells all the staff members, each of you can give your views on how to improve our company and so on. And I'll be the last to give my suggestions and the steps that ought to be taken. But when I give this, don't forget who is giving the views and the suggestions, which means he still wants to impose his views and his arguments will be the best. You don't be like that. That is actually a reflection of a person's ego. Right? So if for people who have such strong ego, right, that must win every argument, they cannot be peaceful. Right? This is a very good piece of advice, of wisdom. So we can discuss, or we agree to disagree, right? And we can still be very good friends, isn't it? And don't have personal attacks and so on. But then on matters of principles or policies or steps you have to take and so on. So that is a very important message of wisdom. Now let us go on to number 7 now. Smile and spread metta, or loving kindness to all. I have given a few presentations that touch on metta, which translates best as loving kindness. There are actually 11 benefits for the person who practices metta, who spreads loving kindness. There is this meditation on loving kindness. So if you are able to practice this, you find there are many benefits which I have actually presented before, and your mind will be elevated. And of course, when the mind is peaceful, more calm, more happy, then this sort of state conducive to the rising of wisdom. When the mind is, agitated, negative, and so on, difficult for wisdom to arise. And of course, a smile is a very important thing. When you smile, you work how many muscles in your face, right? I think last time I did a presentation on all because of a smile, right? And then the end also, there was a song to the tune of All I'm Saying about a smile is such a funny thing. It goes on like that. So imagine if a person doesn't smile, then people somehow or other, will find it difficult to get along with that person. Very stern looking, serious, and then sometimes very negative. Even the speech is not gentle, not friendly, not kind. So try to smile more often, and then to spread loving kindness to yourself and to other people. And this is a piece of very wise advice. And it is conducive to the rising of states of wisdom, right? Positive state. And in fact, metta, as you know, is one of the 4 Brahma Viharas, or what we call the sublime states, all right? Or you can say the heavenly abodes. You have metta, which is loving kindness, karuna, compassion, mudita, feeling the joy at other people's success, and upekkha, the state of equanimity. And metta is the first of the 4. So this is, of course, a pointer to wisdom to practice this metta. You see little girl, so cute, right? Maybe she's thinking that this one is alive, so she smiles at that one, right? If the little ones are very cute or innocent, but as they grow up, they get spoiled by the evil forces of the world, right? So that is slide number 7. So now let us go on to slide number 8. Show appreciation and gratitude for all that you have. Be thankful to those who have been kind and help you. Count your blessings and not to count your troubles, right? Now, gratitude is a very important, noble spiritual quality to practice. All religions talk about that, isn't it? To be grateful for so many things, so many blessings that you have. But sad to say, today, you find this very important virtue is very lacking among many people. So the Buddha did say in one of the teachings, in I think one of the scriptural books, Anguttara Nikaya, 2 types of people very hard to find, rare to find. The first type is the sort of a person who can do a positive action, a kind action, a good action very spontaneously, no need to ask. The person is so kind, so helpful, and can do on his own. And the second type, very difficult to find, is a person that is grateful. Right? So if you are able to practice gratitude, then you are one up on thousands of people, and you are actually practicing a noble virtue. And gratitude, there are many benefits of gratitude or practicing gratitude. You can even Google, you find even motivators talk about the importance of gratitude, you see, right? So be thankful, count your blessings, thankful to the people who have helped you. Just now we have written there, right? Your parents, for example, your grandparents, very important. Now let us go on to slide number 9 now. All right. Value and cherish your family members and good friends. That is very important. Now, you know, family members, your parents, your siblings, and then your good friends, value the friendship. Value your relationship with all the members of a family. Nurture them, cherish them. Some people take things for granted. And then the time comes when, let's say, some good friends pass away, right? Or a family member passes away. And then you regret and you have feelings of remorse because you have not really cherished the relationship, or you have not really appreciated the good friendship of the one that has passed away, right? So because, family members have helped you so much, right? And good friends are so valuable, So when you consider this point, then you find there is a change in your attitude and your mind. You can cherish things, you can appreciate things, and this will be conducive to the rising of wisdom. Right? So this is a wise piece of advice, or wise teaching, you can say. So this is slide number 9. Now let us go on to number 10 now. Be mindful of your thoughts, speech, and bodily actions. Check that they are wholesome. Yes, very important. If you don't do that, then the Mara forces, other religions say Satan, but actually those are the defilements from the depths of our mind we have lived before, and these come and kacau you and try to tempt you to do the unwholesome things. So we must be careful and watch the mind, that the thoughts must be free from all those defilements of greed, anger, hatred, delusion, and your speech must be free from falsehood, must not have slander, must not have harshness, and must not be gossip. And then the bodily action, you have to check that you don't kill, you don't steal, and you don't commit sexual misconduct. The 10 unwholesome things you must avoid. Otherwise, you will face suffering. It's a matter of time. Sometimes, just later part in the life or future lives. And this is one of the very important Dharma teachings. Avoid the 10 unwholesome actions. So you watch your thinking. You watch the words that you use, your speech, and your bodily actions. And that is a very important message or Dhamma teaching. A person that does not watch the thought, speech, and bodily action and do unwholesome actions cannot have wisdom arising, because there's no virtue, you see. So morality is important. Now let us go on to slide number 11. Live a morally upright life. This one also overlapping with what we have said. That means we must follow the moral precepts. Just now I said for Buddhists, you have to follow the 5 precepts. So if you live a life of good morality, good ethics, then your conscience is clear and you are peaceful. You can sleep peacefully. You will not be troubled by feelings of guilt, feelings of regret, remorse, fear, worry. All those negative things will come if you have done unwholesome things and your life is not moral, cheating people, killing some of the people. So then you don't have to worry. There's no worry actually, right? You don't have to think, you don't have to worry, say, what will the flirt think of me, right? By your actions, by your character, then people will respect you, right? People relate well to you. They'll think good of you automatically. You don't have to bother about that at all. You just live a morally upright life, a life of righteousness, right? And then also doing the good, like dana, helping others, service, and all those things. Then you don't have to worry about what other people, your actions all will tell. So this is important. And of course, you got to know what are the good things and what are the bad things, right? The 10 unwholesome actions just now I mentioned, you must avoid and do the opposite, the good things. Now let us go on to number 12 now. Have time for solitude and silence. Meditate and contemplate on what truly matters. And what finally, ultimately matters is the Dharma really. When the Dharma you realize, will be fantastic treasures for your mind, that your mind will be growing in happiness, peace, right, calmness, confidence, all the good qualities. But you have to train the mind. And one very important practice in Buddhism is meditation, contemplation. So there must be time where you have solitude, you are solitary and silence, to go into the depth of your mind and then to introspect and then to meditate so that, your mind becomes stronger, purer, and you can see more and more of things as they truly are. Then you find you will be able to tap the fantastic benefits of meditation, which I've also posted before on the many benefits, you see. So make sure we have enough time. Some people, they are not used to this. They say, oh, they cannot be alone. They must always with the gang or with people around. Of course, you can socialize and so on. What we are saying is you must find time to be alone, right? There are people, they have to do something to meet with people, right? They cannot be alone quiet, They have to switch on the TV lah, or maybe, play around with the computer to watch the YouTube, Facebook, or TikTok, and so on. So the mind is always agitated, no time to retrospect and be silent. So how can the mind grow strong? How can wisdom arise? You cannot. You see, you find the great people, the great religious teachers, and also people who have achieved fantastic things in so many fields. They have moments of silence where they build up the mind and great thinking or contemplation occurs. Like Albert Einstein also, you see, he was a great thinker, right? Even Jesus also did the meditation 40 days in the wilderness. So remember this, very important. Now let us go on to number 13. Smile and laugh more. Laughter and humor is good for your physical and mental well-being. How very true. The research has shown that laughter is good for health. And actually, humor and laughter is one of my favorite subjects. Many of the books I wrote pertain to laughter and humor and wisdom, All right. So this is backed up by, research, that when you are able to laugh and see life in lighter vein, then good neurochemicals are secreted by your brain and you feel good. And, there was one book, I remember, and that book was, it's called Anatomy of an Illness by Dr. Norman Cousins, Then he was diagnosed with cancer, and the cancer specialist told him that he got maybe 6 months or maybe 1 year or what to live only. But he fought against the cancer by using laughter, humor. The time you got the videotapes to watch and then the humor book. And the end, the cancer is gone. That's the power of laughter. So remember to smile and laugh more. We are human beings who have to live more happily, isn't it? So mental health, physical health. In fact, you can check up the many benefits of laughter and humor. Now we have to move on to slide number 14. We are just halfway through. Beware of the danger of spending too much time on worldly sensual pursuits. Today this is the danger of those high-tech things, like your smartphone, your iPad, or your notebook, all those devices. I tell you, people have become addicted to this. But sad to say, for the young people, most of the time they use these fantastic devices. I also use smartphone, and then the internet through the computer and so on. But we must make sure that we have time when we don't use this, that we have to do thinking, we have to meditate, we have to read. But you find today, they have become addicted. And then there were even, I heard of cases who committed suicide because they lost their mobile phones and smartphones. I don't know, iPhone or what, or did something terrible. Or become so addicted. And most of the time, what do? They just look at things to titillate their senses, right? Dancing lah, singing lah, and then TikTok, all those sensational things. I'm not saying that you cannot watch all this, but I say there's a limit. You have to control and check the senses. Otherwise, you become addicted, just as you become addicted. Some become addicted to drinking alcohol or smoking or even drugs. And then the suffering will come. Research has shown, if you get addicted to these sort of things, then later on you're going to suffer problems of the mind, right? So they don't have time, to develop the mind. Like, for example, to learn the Dharma, to reflect on the Dharma, or to read great books of motivation and inspiration, so that your mind will grow in compassion and wisdom. So it's not balanced. So you have to be careful of that. I'm not saying you cannot use it. I'm saying you have to be careful, balanced, so that you have time for other things. Go out into nature, exercise, right? Maybe you visit places, and then you mix with good friends, or you go to temples and listen to talks. Balance. But today, sad to say, mostly all will be on the smartphones and all those high-tech stuff. And then later on, you will see the problems coming to you if you're not careful. Now let us go on to number 15 now. 15, realize that education is not merely learning the worldly academic subjects. More important still is the development of your character and spiritual qualities. I think today I posted, today is Sunday, right? And now actually when you watch it, it might be another day lah. But anyway, today, Sunday, for me, I posted for Sunday school and the young people, the secondary students or college students, on character, the importance of character. But today, sad to say, in schools, they just emphasize on academic subjects that will enable you to score A's, all right? And very little attention is given to the morality, the ethics, the spiritual qualities. You know what are spiritual qualities? Like kindness, forgiving attitude, helpfulness, and all those things. Those are good spiritual qualities. They don't emphasize on those things. They have a subject. There is a subject called Pendidikan Moral, but this subject is also an examination subject. So the students study to get another A. I taught 2 years when I was teaching many, many years ago. And the plus, there was people who copied during the test of Pendidikan Moral education. Then it serves no purpose. Pendidikan Moral, and then you are immoral because you're not honest, you're copying, isn't it? So these values, all these have to be caught and inculcated, not just study just like any other subject to get an A. So careful that you must also develop your character and your religious values. All religions teach you the good things, isn't it? Right? So, of course, there are some that gone off the path and they become fanatics. You have to be careful. All right. So, this is one thing you need to know. It's a very important piece of wise advice, I would say. right? But I'm sad to say today only people just judge you by the number of A's, but they don't talk about your character, right? Your spiritual qualities. How helpful are you? How polite are you? How responsible and honest are you? That's why today you have so many problems where people cheat and lie. People, they con you, right? You find out you will hack your computer and all those nonsense things and wrong things they do. Very intelligent, but using the wrong way. So education has not worked really for them. Or maybe the education system has not been successful in producing a morally upright and spiritual people. That's why when you see many problems in society, then you find that education is not moving in a good direction. That's what I feel. Okay, now let us go on to number 16 now. The best of friends are the Kalyana Mitas. And this actually means a spiritual friend, right? A very good friend. And the best friend is a spiritual friend that helps you to develop your mind and your heart in the correct direction so that you will grow in your mind. You will grow in happiness, peace, compassion, and wisdom, right? So therefore, if you are able to find a Kalyana Mita or spiritual friend, cherish that friendship and such a friend. How do you know the fella is a good friend? You see whether he can help you to lead your life become more happy, peaceful, and meaningful. Like for example, very cultivated monks, you find give very good teachings, or maybe in Buddhist associations, you might find certain Dharma teachers that can help you. So this is a very good message, a Dharma message, that the role of the Kalyana Mitta or spiritual friend is very, very important. So I would say this is a message of wisdom to find a good Kalyana Mitta. Now let us go on to number 16 now. You are responsible for your life, yes. Right? You create the type of world you live in. Either a peaceful world for you in your mind or a world of dukkha and suffering in your mind because of your wrong thinking, your wrong attitude, your wrong views, and the unwholesome things that you do, starting with the mind. Mind is the forerunner of all things. So that's how you create your own world, create your hell. Some people, they say, this they start blaming other people, blame the parents, blame the school, blame this and that, except themselves. They find fault with other people. Right? Sometimes you are in a terrible situation. It could be due to the karma of the past. You have done something not wholesome. So now you get the results, right? You get the fruits of your unwholesome actions of the past. So take responsibility for your life. You chart your own destiny. You don't say that I'm lucky lah, that's my bad karma, that's my fate. No, even your karma, you say a bad karma, you can change that one. Your destiny is in your hands, not controlled by somebody upstairs there. I mean, up in heaven, trying to control your life. No. So take responsibility, and it is your responsibility to do good, avoid all the evil, so that you will not create a hell. Don't have to wait until you die and go to hell or go to heaven. This world now itself and now in your life, you create your own state of heaven in your mind or hell by your actions, by the thoughts that you have, and by your speech. So remember that you chart your own destiny. So this is another very important Dhamma teaching. And you follow that in the right direction, wisdom will arise, you see. Now let us go on to number 18 now. Do not burden or carry with you in the mind anger, ill will, enmity, and hatred towards others. Now, actually, this is quite related to the first of the wise pointers, that is forgiving others. But here in this case, you have to pay attention to this point of what we call dosa. Dosa actually translates as hatred. But connected with hatred is anger, ill will, enmity, aversion, dislike. All these states of mind are not good states. They will lead you to much dukkha and suffering in this life itself and in future lives. So, if you always have in your mind the anger, the ill will towards another person, and you cannot let go, you cannot forgive, but connected to the first one, right? Then you find it can be a very dangerous situation. This state of anger, hatred, all in your mind, negative states, can affect even your health, isn't it? Some people get heart attack, get stress, stroke, stress-related sicknesses. So don't let go. Don't have this all the in your mind, anger, all those things. You got to take steps. I've also posted the ways, how many ways you can conquer anger and enmity or hatred. I posted this also. So don't carry these things in your mind because they can harm you. And in future lives, you may be meeting with that person whom you hated, whom you were very angry with in one of the earlier lives, you see. So this goes on and on. So how miserable your life will be, isn't it? When you carry in your mind and heart, negative things, states of anger towards another person. I know I've encountered people in the Buddhist association. They're angry with each other and they don't talk to each other. They're enemies for life. Not good. Have to let go. Do not have this burden. And once you let go, like forgiving is one of the things, right? When you have understanding. So of course, if you have wisdom, then you can let go more easily. And then if you take steps like metta, bhavana to, let go of this, then wisdom can arise. If a person's mind is always filled with anger, hatred, negative states, very hard for the mind to develop in wisdom. That's the thing, negative thing. Whereas your mind is filled with metta, kindness, generosity, then these states are conducive to wisdom arising. Now let us go on to number 19 now. They learn important Dharma and life lessons to help you beat the stress of modern life. Now today you find affecting the young, the not so young, the adults and the old people is this terrible disease, you can say, right? A problem of the mind, the affliction of stress. And stress, of course, can lead to all sorts of health issues, right? Like, for example, depression, anxiety-related sicknesses, and then even heart problems, you see. So, of course, today they have found out that more and more people are suffering from this thing we call stress, which leads on to some problems of the mind like depression and other psychiatric sicknesses. So, of course, the specialists all can prescribe the medicine and counseling and so on. But if from young, you learn important Dharma or what we call life lessons, then you can cope better. You have heard of, even very educated people like doctors committing suicide because they are stressed. They are really very feeling so terrible because the girlfriend ran away. So you have to beat the stress. And a piece of good advice, or wise advice, is to learn the Dharma and then apply in your everyday life. Understand it, of course. then you can beat stress in the modern life. So you see, this shows the Dhammacakka wheel, the importance of wheel of representing Dhamma, turning of Dhamma, and this one is stressful person. All right, now let's go on to slide number 20. One should have adequate time for rest, relaxation, exercise, and sleep to stay healthy. Very important to have physical and mental health. I posted a few presentations on health, right? How to be healthy in the body and the mind and so on. And then it boils down to this, which many people know, that we must have enough time to sleep, then we must have exercise, and then time to have relaxation, pursuing hobbies, and so on. They know. But then you find the sad thing is they become victims of Mara, Mara means the evil forces, they ask. I mean, they tempt these fellas go and play the computer games a long time, and then, they do silly things like smoking, and drinking and all this, so the health is affected. The lack of sleep, of course, is also one factor. And lack of exercise is also another factor, you see. And then some overwork. Some overwork, I've heard of people work until collapse at the computer table, right? So it's terrible, you see. So, and then some, wow, they sleep at 2 or 3 a.m. So how are you going to feel fresh the next day when you go to work, you see? So now sleep is important. Now let us go on to number 21. Know and believe that you create your future. You reap what you sow. This is quite similar to just now what we have done, that you chart your destiny, isn't it? So this is actually emphasizing on understanding the law of karma. Good begets good. Evil begets evil. So, just now also we mentioned before already that you create your heaven, you create the hell from your mind, isn't it? Now here is emphasizing again this very important principle of karma, the law of karma. What goes around comes around. You do bad, bad will befall you one day. You do good, then you will reap the reward one day. Even if it's not in this life, then you will in future lives. You reap what you sow. When you, like for example, you see the animated cartoon here, you sow good seeds, then you're going to have good fruits, and the fruits will drop for you to eat. So, sowing the good seeds. If you plant a mango seed, you get a mango fruit. You plant a durian seed, you get. But if you don't work at it, right? That means you don't do positive actions, then how are you going to get positive results? How are you going to get positive rewards, isn't it? So very important, take responsibility, connected again with what we said just now, and the Buddhas all teach this important, wise teaching. Do good, shun evil. Shun evil means avoid bad, avoid bad things, and then purify your mind. Or you can say develop or cultivate your mind so that your mind becomes strong. How does your mind become strong? It has more and more of those noble qualities like kindness, right? And then forgiving attitude, and then being able to let go, right? Being very, very helpful, have a dana heart. Now, all these will develop the mind to be strong. And if the mind is filled with the negative things like selfishness, greed, and then angry mind, and then egoistic, all these will weaken the mind. So when you say purify your mind, means to fill your mind with the good, virtuous, noble qualities. That is what is meant. Now let us go on to number 22 now. Dwell not in the past, make peace with it. Don't worry or speculate about the future. I think I have mentioned this many times. A lot of suffering comes because we do not take charge of the mind and let the mind go and dwell in the past and then become worried, fearful of some unwholesome actions that you have done. You have regret, remorse, guilt, or let the mind run to the future. Ayo, what will happen? Will I get the sickness? Will I be able to get a place in the university? All those in the future is uncertain speculating. You need to do your work. We need to do your work now, you see, right? You do the proper work in the present, then the future will take care of itself, you know. The future will be good because you have done good work at the present time. So therefore, we should try to train the mind to be more with the present, be mindful of the present, do the positive things of the present, then the future will take care of itself. That's a beautiful quotation. Somebody gave it to me. They say, yesterday is history, right? Just a memory. That means the past is dead and gone already. Just a memory, history already. Tomorrow is mystery, uncertainty. Very true. You cannot be sure what is going to happen in the future. And then it is uncertain. So what matters is today, right? Today. That's why the present is called a gift also. The present is punning the word present. The present is a gift. So make proper use of the present. Don't let the present be gone and you've wasted it. What matters is the present now only. So this is a very wise message, a wise teaching, and try to practice it. So it's a pointer to developing wisdom, right? It is a signpost of living in the present and letting go of the past and then not worrying about the future. That is this important thing. Now let us go on to number 23 now. This is also a very wise piece of advice or Dharma teaching. However good or bad a situation is, it will change. It is actually the principle of anicca. Anicca means impermanent. Nothing stays on unchanged forever. Everything will pass. It is impermanent. So when you reflect on this, for wisdom to arise, you say, oh, now I'm having this pain in the body. Of course, you will see a doctor and so on. So it will take some time. It will not remain like this. And you have got good medicine, then it will change. You can get better, isn't it? Ah, whereas you don't understand this, we have the other point of time is the healer, but now we understand that everything will pass, will change. So even if you have a suffering situation, a painful situation, it will not last forever, isn't it? Right? It will pass. And then on the other hand, when you have a good situation, very happy, that also doesn't last. So you have to be careful, realize it, that it will pass. So when it passes, you must not go into a sad state because that's the nature of things, isn't it? And you can change to, painful actions. Like you like durian, you eat durian, a very nice nutrition. You eat on and on, more and more, then you get a stomach ache, becomes dukkha. So this is a very important, wise message of impermanence, or what we call anicca. Anicca is impermanence or transience, that nothing lasts forever. These two will pass. So when we know this, then we are able to live more in the present, and then the mind develops, and very naturally you find, if you are walking the Dhamma way, which is actually the most important way you have to follow is the Noble Eightfold Path. When I say, follow the Dhamma way, follow the Noble Eightfold Path, then the wisdom will arise. But Of course, when there's wisdom, then you will have also compassion and happiness and joy and peace. They all are tied together. Wisdom will bring in the other things, you see. So that is this last bit of wise message or advice. And now we go to the last slide. That is the end slide. Right? Now we have the ending slide. Now today, we have actually discussed important Dharma points all pertaining to wise teachings or wise advice or wise messages. Now then we look at this and reflect. When wisdom grows in the mind, we will then have peace sublime. That's very true. In fact, Buddhism, you can say, hinges on two important things, wisdom and compassion. Very central core in the Dharma teachings or in Buddhism. So you need to really train the mind to let the wisdom grow. Wisdom, that means that you really understand the true nature of things, the laws of nature, right? The principles of the universe, so that you can live in harmony. And there will be definitely peace arising and happiness arising. So this is the presentation I'm giving for this particular lesson. So I hope, brothers and sisters, this one actually can be followed by people of different ages, students, young adults, middle age, or even old people. For all, the Dharma is for all. So before we say sadhu 3 times, I would like to thank all the brothers and sisters, everybody who has taken time and effort to follow this presentation of more than an hour and more than 20 slides. I hope that you can benefit from some of the slides and can share with others. Sharing is a meritorious thing, right? So now, so I would like to thank all these people, sadhu to all of people who have been following. So let us now hold our palms together and say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Our brothers and sisters in the Dharma, may you all be well, happy, peaceful, and may the Dharma be with all of you always. Take care.